So here we are, Riverdale Season 2 has come to an end, and all of us, I assume, are left with the same feeling. What the heck was any of this about? From drag racing to sexy karaoke, Riverdale Season 2 continued to prove us wrong just when we thought, haha, this show couldn't possibly be any more of a mess. And then BAM! Musical episode. Anyway, so here we are, and I still don't really understand what happened. That's not true. I understand what happened, but I'm still hung up on the whys. Like, why did any of this happen? To dive into the Season 2 finale, I thought I'd break it up character by character. So let's take a bit of a walk, shall we? Archie is where Season 2 started and, fittingly enough, where it ends. The whole Black Hood fiasco starts with him running into Pop's diner and shooting Archie's dad, which acts as like the main kind of motivator for the first half of Season 2, at least for Archie. But it's the second half of Season 2 where Archie's character takes a weird turn. So after they think they've caught the Black Hood, Archie gets in cahoots with Mr. Lodge and his mobster lifestyle until eventually he figures out what's going on and gets out. But like, Archie's entire motivation for everything he does until the very end of Season 2 is to what exactly? Sleep with Veronica? I mean, think about it. Archie like blows up a mobster's car, forms a vigilante gang, goes through all of this just for what? Some of V's V? It better be worth it, pal. That's all I'm saying, okay? Between you and me, seems like a lot more trouble than it's worth, all right? Now, finally, at the end, Archie confronts Veronica's dad about everything that's happened over the whole season.
After my dad was shot, I felt lost, powerless. And you took advantage of that. Manipulated me. The same way you got Andre to kill Papa Poutine. And that boy at Shadow Lake. You're smart, Mr. Lodge. So all or any of this will be hard to prove. But I will. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I'm gonna be there.
And this takes us to the big old cliffhanger for Season 3.
Sheriff Minetta, what are you doing? Archie Andrews, you're under arrest for the murder of Shadow Lake resident Cassidy Bullock.
What?
It's a dangerous game.
Honestly, this is a really lackluster cliffhanger if you ask me. I mean, like, in Season 1, right? The Black Hood shooting Archie's dad was a really good way of telling us that we were in for something totally different for Season 2. And we were. For better or worse. Who am I kidding? It's just for worse. There's really nothing redeemable like at all about this season, but like whatever, right? Now, what this cliffhanger says to me is that Season 3 is probably gonna be just more Season 2. I mean, Veronica's dad, Cheryl's mom, they're all still the bad guys. Nothing's really changed here. And like the scene at the end when Veronica's dad monologues his entire plan to everyone who should already know it, so like why are you telling them the whole thing in detail? But like, you know, what do I know? I've never been a mobster before. Maybe this is how things work. Anyway, this whole part is just, well, just watch it.
Ladies, gentlemen, it's been months in the making, but we're finally here.
Prison will soon be up and operational, with your drugs running through it, Claudius.
Like brother, like brother.
Malachi and his ghoulies will be our soldiers and dealers.
With Miss Peabody troubleshooting.
You promised me a brothel, Hiram.
All in good time, Madam Blossom.
What about your daughter? And her meddlesome friends?
Not a concern.
Did this dude really just say her meddlesome friends? What are these villains from Scooby-Doo now? Anyway, moving on, let's talk about Betty. Betty's story is also one of the most important throughout the whole season, and you could break it down into two main plot threads. You got the Black Hood, and you got Chick. So let's start with Chick. Now, back in Season 1, they planted this little seed about how Betty's mom had a child, put it up for adoption some years ago, and then, in Season 2, we finally get to meet Chick. Now, first of all, let's just get it out of the way, okay? In a previous episode, I said this. And sometime by the end of Season 2, he's gonna be accepted into the friend group, and he and Kevin will start dating. Place your bets now, kids. So, I was wrong. Like, really wrong. But in my defense, I naively assumed that the show would take responsibility for its characters and storylines and actually, you know, give them lasting consequences. But oh, silly me, this is Riverdale. So long story short, Chick is not actually Betty's long-lost brother. Chick and Charles, Betty's real brother, were, I guess, roommates, or they were dating or something? Like, it's not really clear. This whole revelation of like who Chick really is or whatever, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about when I say that the show doesn't take any responsibility for anything that it does. When we first learn that Chick isn't Betty's brother, he says this.
Then where's Charles? How did you know him?
We met out on the streets, then moved into that flop house. One day, he knocked, and you answered, Alice. He practically slammed the door in his face. He said, "We're not interested." You remember it, don't you? Charles went on a bender that night. He OD'd on Jingle Jangle.
Okay, I don't mean any disrespect, but OD on jingle jangle is a phrase I cannot take seriously. So naturally, Alice goes through this whole emotional breakdown of how it was her fault that her long lost son is dead and all that stuff. But then like 5 minutes later, it turns out that was a lie too, and Chick actually just straight up, I guess, killed Betty's brother for reasons that we never really get to know.
Did you do it? Did you kill my brother?
Got in a fight. I lost control. I didn't mean to hurt him.
So what does all this mean? It means the entire existence and storyline of Chick means nothing. The writers of the show pulled exactly the same stunt they did with the whole FBI agent thing, and they just like retract everything. All the time and emotional investment we put into this, and it's just thrown right back in our faces like, just kidding, losers. The only thing of any value that we learned is that Betty's brother is actually Jughead's dad's son.
No more secrets. No more lies. I should have told you. Sooner, maybe something would have been different. I had your baby.
But like, we already knew that Alice and FP were together in high school at some point, so like, it doesn't really thicken the plot all that much. But guess what? It doesn't really matter anyway because the real son isn't around anymore, so what was the point of all this? We learn nothing new and there are no lasting consequences of any kind. In fact, I'll bet you in season 3, turns out Betty's brother's actually alive the whole time, and Chick was lying about lying because, I mean, come on, this is Riverdale. But then, of course, we have the big Black Hood reveal, and turns out it was actually Betty's dad the whole time. Maybe. Now, just like with the whole Mr. Svensson thing back in the middle of the season, this revelation or like whatever, it all happens in like 3 minutes. Betty's dad just decides like out of nowhere to come clean, and we finally get the big reveal and learn why he did what he did.
You do love your daddy, don't you, Harold?
Yes, Mom.
Your daddy did something very noble, Harold. He took care of that Conway family. They were sinners. And what happens to sinners?
Sinners have to die.
Oh my God.
Your speech at the Jubilee.
Riverdale must do better. We must do better.
Reminded me of a promise that I made my mother. Who am I, Betty?
You're the Black Hood.
Now, logistically speaking, I guess maybe there is kind of some wiggle room here because, yeah, he and Alice were separated. He was living away for a while, so I guess maybe it kind of works out that way. But, like, why he did it, you know, like his motivation and all that stuff, like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, at no point in the first or second season did Betty's dad ever give us any clue that he was religious or anything like that. Like, it just kind of comes out of nowhere. Like, did I ever tell you about the time I was brainwashed by religious fanatics? I probably should have mentioned that earlier. Whoops. You know, I've said before how characters, like, completely change personalities from scene to scene, but this is a perfect example of what I've been talking about. Like, everything's fine, he's just sitting there playing, like, I don't know, Best Fiends or whatever on his phone, you know? And Betty says the magic words, and suddenly he's just like,
Goliath online, target designated.
Like I said before, and now that it's over, I can say it definitively, the whole Black Hood thing is just the sloppiest thing I've ever seen. You know what it feels like now that I think about it? This whole Black Hood storyline thing, it feels like they were trying to come up with a complicated explanation as to why Betty has that kinky bad girl persona from season 1. Like, instead of just saying, hey, Betty likes to shop at Hot Topic sometimes, and just leaving it there, they came up with this ridiculous over-the-top explanation that involves like religious fanaticism and witch hunting and a whole bunch of other stuff. Anyway, moving on, let's talk about Jughead. I've said this before, so I don't want to harp on it too much, but Jughead's story is just really confusing. Like, he never cared about being with the serpents and actively tried to stay away from them in season 1, and then all of a sudden he's just like a hardcore ride or die serpent just out of nowhere. At the end of season 2, he becomes the official Serpent King and gives Cheryl a red serpent jacket, which I'm pretty sure that's not how gang colors and paraphernalia work, but not that I would know or anything. But the more important plot point that just completely gets glossed over is that Jughead's secretly part of the X-Men. Okay, look, he gets beaten to death by like 20 ghoulies and that one serpent lady whose tattoo he cut off earlier in the show, and the next day everything's fine? So what, Jughead's just Wolverine all of a sudden? But anyway, next up, we got Cheryl. In season 1, Cheryl was the main focus of pretty much the entire show. In season 2, however, she basically does nothing. Like, really, nothing Cheryl does has any lasting consequence until the very end when she shoots the Black Hood with an arrow. But that whole part, just like, you know, everything else in this entire show, is just the most bizarre thing.
I suggest you run whilst you still can. I only miss when I mean to.
Cheryl.
The Black Hood just attacked me at Thistle House.
Oh my God. Was it my dad?
Based on waistline alone, it could have been him, yes. Luckily, I was able to get to my archery set and hunting cape.
Oh yeah, good thing you got your magical hunting cloak, because, you know, anything else just would have been ridiculous, right? And like, where did any of this come from? Why are we just learning about this magical skill you have now? We could have used this 12 episodes ago, Cheryl! Finally, let's talk about Veronica. Veronica's a character who gets a lot of screen time, but doesn't actually really do all that much. Like, Veronica's character is the main motivation for Archie, and she helps her dad with his, like, evil scheme for a while, but like, on her own, not a whole lot going on. Although I will say, I think my favorite scene with Veronica is when she goes to Archie's house, and this happens.
I wanted to tell you that from now on, I'm supporting your run for mayor. I can't, in good conscience, stand with my father anymore. I believe in you.
Talk about this scene for a second. So Veronica gets all dressed up like this, goes over to Archie's house to tell his dad that she's voting for him, and then she and Archie somehow end up doing the old devil's tango in his bedroom? Like, how did this conversation even go? Mr. Andrews, I dressed up in my best Victoria's Secret outfit to come here and tell you I'm voting for you. Oh, that's great, Veronica. Why don't you and Archie head up to his bedroom and lock the door? I'll just be down here with my headphones on for like 2 hours. What could possibly happen? Although at the very end, Veronica does end up stopping her dad's plan to own the entire South Side by buying up the White Worm and then negotiating that for Pop's Diner.
I'm willing to sell the White Worm to you. Or rather, trade it. In exchange for Pop's chocolate shop.
You're risking war with me over Pops?
I'm looking for an even trade here.
Let's barter. But to be clear, if I make this deal with you, that's it. That's the last thing you'll ever get from me. No more allowance, no more trust fund, no more credit cards.
And all your Tamagotchis, your entire Amiibo collection, and you have to take down all your BTS posters. You wouldn't dare. Oh, I would. And I will. So Riverdale Season 2 has come to an end, and I still stand by what I said all the way back in part 1 of this little series or whatever I've been doing. Riverdale is a mess. The characters' sets of values, their motivations, their logical reasoning, everything just ebbs and flows at any moment. And one thing that, to me at least, is really disappointing is that now you can just take everything at face value. I kept holding on to this tiny sliver of hope that it was all taking us somewhere, hoping that this was all just one huge, like, wool pulling over the eyes thing or whatever. Like, the end of Season 2 was just gonna blow us all away with some huge reveal of something. Anything. Nope. Everything was pretty much exactly what you thought it was. Chick seemed like a shady, creepy weirdo, and silly me, I thought it was all a ruse, and we were gonna grow to like Chick and understand him on a personal level. Nope, he's just a shady, creepy weirdo. The end. And like Veronica's dad, remember how he was first introduced in the show?
I've changed. You have no idea.
If history is dead,
The question is,
then how did we get
have you?
here, my God?
Not so much that I still don't want to kiss hello for my daughter.
So you wanna start a war in the age of icons? So you
Oh, gee, you think he might be the bad guy? Maybe he's just misunderstood and actually has a heart of gold. And what's that? Oh yeah, he's exactly the person you thought he was the whole time. Riverdale used to be not a masterpiece or anything, let's be honest here, but at least it was like a clever teen drama. And now it's just a cheesy soap opera with like obvious over-the-top characters. Like, it's Days of Our Lives with good lighting. But that said, you better believe I'm coming back for Season 3. Hey, so really quick, this is the last Riverdale video I'm doing until Season 3 starts sometime like in the fall or whatever. So if you're interested at all in any of my Riverdale merch, you gotta get it now. Southside Serpent phone cases, t-shirts. We got Pop's Diner t-shirt, couple Jughead shirts, Riverdale high school football team shirts. We got Bulldog shirts, Southside Serpent beach towels. You think we're done here? Oh no. Southside Serpent underwear. Who could say no to that? We even got Funko Pops. Are you kidding me? We got Cheryl, Veronica, Jughead, Betty, Archie. We got them all. And we got a cool clock. And the fun doesn't stop there, my friends. Click the link below, get your order ready, and use the promo code ALEX, short and simple, A-L-E-X, Alex. You get free worldwide shipping, okay? Anywhere you live, we will ship to you for free. So if any of this looks interesting to you, click the link below, use the promo code ALEX, and have a wonderful day. So there's a lot that I wanted to get to in this video that I didn't get to. I had to cut out quite a bit actually. The script is much longer than this video is. Basically, to boil it down, okay, my problem with Riverdale Season 2 is this. When you're telling a story, what you're supposed to do is say, this happens, so this happens, therefore this happens, which causes this to happen. That's why they call it a plot line, right? It's different plot points that are all connected together. Riverdale Season 2 seems to be like, this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. And it's a bunch of like random points that aren't really connected together. And that goes into what I was saying about how the story doesn't really take responsibility, because like 3 or 4 times now, something has happened in the show, and then they just brushed it away like, just kidding, guys. You know, like the FBI agent, just kidding. Chick, just kidding. Fangs, you know, because of Fangs, like the riots happened and all that stuff happened in the show, and then it's like, oh, the phone call that said Fangs was dead, yeah, that was a lie. Just kidding. So it's like, so many times they have these pivotal moments that they just brush away. Like talking about like emotional manipulation that goes nowhere. Remember the scene when Jughead was in front of the school, he was all chained to it with the serpents, and then Archie and his little bulldog guy show up in their like their underwear, whatever it is, and then they like cut the chains, and it's like, oh, the bond of friendship between Archie and Jughead has been cut. And the next episode, they're all best friends again. Like, what was the point of all this stuff that happened? Nothing mattered in this show. Nothing mattered at all. Anyway, thanks again for watching, guys. I put a lot of effort in this video. I wanted to make it special because, you know, it's the last Riverdale video until season 3. It's the finale. And, you know, it's like, I owe everything to Riverdale, because that first Riverdale's a Mess video is what kickstarted everything that you see now. And all of you finding me and all of everything that's happened is really because of Riverdale. So no matter how much I like to harp on Riverdale, no matter how much I like to dunk on it, whatever that means, I'm glad it exists. Anyway, guys, don't forget to subscribe. Please tell your friends. Please share this video around. Like I said, I put a lot of time into it. I tried to make it good and cool and funny and interesting and different. So if you liked it, please share it around. Follow me on Twitter, please. Tweet at me, send me a message, whatever. I try to reply to everything that I get. Follow my dog Charlie on Instagram, Charlie Meets Pumpkin. I got a Patreon, just $5 a month. You get behind the scenes type of stuff. So, you know, if you're interested, it's there for you. There's merchandise, of course, and all that. So if you're interested, check that out as well. And above all else, everybody, have a great day. And I'll see you all next time.